One interesting thing that I have observed whenever I am looking at the different commentary on what's happening in the United States right now, especially what's happening in Minnesota, people are more readily making the connection between what's happening in the US and what happened in Nazi Germany. Like, people are immediately making that connection, right? And the thing about that is, why are they immediately jumping to, you know, recognizing the Nazi influences, but they're not recognizing the Jim Crow South? And this is especially Americans. Like, no one's making that comparison. They're not saying, oh, what's happening in Minnesota is just like the Jim Crow South. And let me tell you what's interesting about that. But before I do, let me, just say the Holocaust was terrible. It was real, it was horrific, it was industrialized genocide. And Jewish trauma deserves to be remembered with both accuracy and respect. And we're going to yes and this. Acknowledging that truth does not require erasing mine. So here's the part that people are missing. Nazi Germany didn't create racial hierarchy out of thin air. Adolf Hitler and Nazi legal scholars studied the United States. They studied American slavery, they studied Jim Crow, they studied segregation, they studied anti-miscegenation laws, and racial citizenship. When the Nazis were drafting the Nuremberg laws, they looked directly at U.S. race law as a model. This does not mean that slavery and the Holocaust were identical. It means that white supremacy is a shared system that travels, adapts, and escalates. Different timelines, different methods, but the logic is the same. American slavery wasn't just cruelty, it was a racialized system of total control. Family separation as policy, rape as an economic strategy, forced breeding, genetic theft, generational trauma written into law. And when slavery ended, Jim Crow ensured that the hierarchy survived. People are quicker to make the connection between what's happening in the United States to Germany because that means that that evil was over there. For them to recognize the Jim Crow South means that they understand that the United States actually perfected evil. And the courts, the police, housing policy, medicine, and education was the machinery that they used to get it done. My ancestors survived a system so brutal that it inspired fascism abroad. Let's sit with that a minute, because it needs to be sat with. This doesn't diminish Jewish suffering, but it shows how deep American violence actually runs. We don't honor the Holocaust by sanitizing U.S. history. And we don't honor my black ancestors by pretending their suffering was less than. My ancestors survived a system that was designed to erase them slowly and profitably. And still, yes, and they loved, they created culture, they protected joy, and they kept memory alive in literal hell. And I need y'all to put respect on that every time.